Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to Shanara Vlogs. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a very traditional Bangladeshi recipe. It's called begum bhaji, and for this I'm using 5 tablespoons of cooking oil, teaspoon of salt, a generous teaspoon of haldi, turmeric, teaspoon of chili, teaspoon of curry powder, and I'm using 5 small onions, or you can use 2 medium-sized ones, and a medium-sized aubergine. A fun fact for aubergines is the male aubergines are pointed at the bottom and the female ones are either flat or sort of pushed in at the bottom. Now, the reason why you'd need to know this is because the female aubergines tend to have a lot of seeds, whereas the male aubergines have no seeds. So if you prefer no seeds, go for the one that's pointed at the bottom. I've sliced the aubergine to a thickness of about 1 centimetre. And I've chopped my onions quite finely. It doesn't need to be really fine, but you can't have them too big. Heat 3 tablespoons of oil in a pan. Add the onions and the salt and let it cook through. We want the onions to soften up and to brown a little bit as well. And then in a second pan I've added some more oil and just letting it heat through, and I'm going to add the aubergine slices to it. We're just going to cook them through a little bit on both sides. So all of this can be done whilst the onions are cooking through. I'm using a smaller pan and I'm doing my aubergine slices in 2 lots. You don't need to fully cook it through at this stage, because we're only half cooking it just to make the process quicker, and then we're going to be adding it to the main pan, and that's when it's going to fully cook through. So the first batch of aubergines are now half cooked, and I'm going to add the second batch. Meanwhile, I can tell my onions ready for the spices, and you can tell because the oil has now started to separate. So I've now added all of the spices and the salt, and we need to cook the spices through. If we don't cook the spices through really well, then we're going to get a bit of a sting from the spice and you get like a bit of a powdery texture. You can tell it's not been cooked properly, so we don't want that. It's a bit of a process cooking the spices off, so you've got to dry fry it on a high heat. Fry the mixture until all the water evaporates and the mixture starts to stick to the bottom. We don't want it to burn, so add some more water, repeat the process, and you need to stir it quite fast after the water's evaporated so it doesn't burn, and this is the bit that just gets rid of that sting. If it's done properly, then you only need to repeat the process twice. Make sure you don't skip this process because it can make the difference of a good or a bad curry. So when you reach this stage, you can then add enough water to cover the aubergine slices. You need to simmer it for a couple of minutes, add your slices and allow it to cook through, making sure you're turning it over because we want the flavours to seep into the aubergine slices. And you'll know when your slices are ready because they're going to be quite soft and squidgy. If they still feel hard, they need to cook for a little bit longer, and you can cover it for a while as well if you like. If you're covering it, make sure you're leaving it on a low flame and make sure you're checking it again after about 3 to 4 minutes. As you can see, my aubergine slices are now ready to be served. You can garnish it with some coriander if you like. You can serve this with either rice, chapatis, paratas, or if you like, you can have a side of steamed vegetables. In Bangladesh, this is often served as a side dish with, say, a meat curry or a chicken curry, and it's always served with rice. Also, it's very traditional in Bangladesh to serve meals with slices of cucumber or a salad, slices of lemon, and also, like I have here, the naga chili. So now for the taste test, and I'm really hungry, really looking forward to this. In Bangladesh, it's traditional for you to eat with your hands, and believe me, it makes the food taste so much better. So I've tasted it. I'm adding some naga to it as well, and yeah, it tastes really good. It really hits the spot. Thank you for watching and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Allah Hafiz for now.